Long ago, the ancient ones lived in the sky. They desired to know the origin, the source from which they came into existence. They went to the sun. He told them they were his children. Then they wandered further and came to the moon. She told them she gave birth to them, and the sun is their father. She told them they must leave this pleasant abode and go down to the earth and dwell there. They came to the earth, but found it covered with water. They could not return to the place they had left, so they wept. But no answer came from them from anywhere. They floated about in the air, seeking in every direction for help from some spirit, but they found none. The animals were with them, and of all these, the elk was the finest and the most stately. Elk inspired all the creatures with confidence, so they appealed to the elk for help. He dropped into the water and began to sink. Then he called to the winds, and the winds came from all quarters and blew until the waters went upward as in a mist. At first, only the rocks were exposed, and the people traveled on the rocky places that produced no plants, and there was nothing to eat. Then the waters began to go down until the soft earth was exposed. When this happened, the elk with his joy rolled over and over on the soft earth, and all his loose hairs clung to the soil. The hairs grew, and from them sprang beans, corn, potatoes, and wild turnips, and all the grasses and trees. The ancient ones told this legend, and it has been retold in the lodges of my people from generation to generation. So as a child, I, Aligawahu, chief of the Kanza people, listened to my grandmother tell this legend in my father's lodge. Then my people lived in the Blue Earth village on the banks of the great river the whites named after our people, near where later the white men built the village they called Manhattan. The memories of that time, a boy in the Blue Earth village, they were good. The warmth of my father's lodge, the smell of buffalo meat boiling in the pot, the laughter of the women as they worked and gossiped, hunting rabbits and squirrels along the rivers, swimming with my friends, racing ponies across the prairie, and gathering with my people at night around the fires to listen to the warriors tell stories of their great deeds of war against the Pawnee. Now hear me. It was good to be a boy living in the Blue Earth village of my people. The Kanza people loved to dance. We performed many dances, some for women and some for men. We had medicine dances, hide dances, calumet dances, war dances, Thanksgiving dances, and other dances. Our people enjoyed these dances, but we did not perform them for pleasure or for what white people call entertainment. The drumming, dancing, singing brought us closer together. Yes, we sometimes dance to celebrate our warriors' victories, but we also dance and sing to reach out to the Creator in giving thanks and asking for help. My people do not believe the Creator lies out there beyond in the sky. We believe the great mystery is within all things here on earth. We two-legged beings, the four-legged beings, the tree people, the grass people, flower people, even streams and stones have within them the creative force of the universe. Sometimes our Creator is known as the Great Mystery. Sometimes the thunder ring, but mostly my people know it as Wakanda.
So you want to know the story of the Santa Fe Road in this here town, do you? Well, I can't give you the whole story. Why, hell, I didn't get here until 1847, and a mighty lot happened before I got here. But I guess I can do as good a job as any man. Why, seeing I've been here longer than all of them, and come to think of it, I probably was one of the first at that. But first, a bit about myself. Now, keep your britches on. I'll keep it brief. The name's Hayes, and I come from frontier stock, you know. Why, my great-grandpappy, he was Dan'l Boone himself. And a short-tail relation of mine, Kit Carson, well, he's kind of become a legend in his own right. Now, about the time that I was to get to this here place, them Kaw engines were supposed to be relocated up from the Kaw River down to these here parts. And I was anticipating doing a mighty lot of trading with those savages. Why, seeing as they're $8,000 a year government annuity and all. But I'll tell you what makes this place so special. It's that stand of timber over yonder. My God, what a grove of hardwood, stretching up and down this Neosho Valley and along its feeder streams. Now, just imagine this. You growed up back east, where there's hills and trees and rivers everywhere you go. And then you set out from Missouri on the Santa Fe Road for this here place, and for 10 straight days, all you're going to see is grass and wide open spaces. But then you pop over that hill yonder and take a gander down in this Neosho Valley, and by God, there's trees everywhere you look. A great green velvet carpet of giant oaks, walnut, hackberry, and ash. Well, I'm telling you, that made a mighty big impression on fellers that were traveling through here. For here, you had what you needed, and a heap lot of it. Water, grass, and the last good stand of hardwood between Independence and Santa Fe. So this place kind of become a camping and meeting place, so to speak. Yeah, I know. Those Injuns used to camp here all the time, which goes to reason they needed water, grass, and wood just like we did. And it's long been said that this here place is sacred to the Injun, that long before the white man ever even set foot on this here continent, that they were traveling on some sort of a trail down to the southwest. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I'm guessing it probably was. Now, the first white feller to travel through here was a feller by the name of Becknell. Old William Becknell set out for Santa Fe in 1821. Becknell left Franklin, which is about smack dab in the middle of Missouri, and headed for old Fort Osage. Old Becknell had heard that the Mexicans had throwed off the rule of the Spaniards and were mighty eager to do some trading with us Americans. So Becknell and a few other fellers, why, they took a chance. Came through these parts just about September with a pack train just loaded with goods bound for Santa Fe. Well, after about an 11-week trip, Becknell arrived in Santa Fe. And sure enough, them Mexicans were mighty happy to see him. And his trading, why, that trading far exceeded his expectations. Well, after about a 7-week return trip, old Becknell was back in Franklin. And the legend has it that he had one of his men cut the thongs on a rawhide bag, and silver coins just spilled all over the ground. Well, I don't rightly know if that's a fact or not, but what I do know is that once word got out that easy money could be made hauling goods to Santa Fe, a whole lot of fellers got downright serious on what we now call the Santa Fe Road. Now, before long, wagon trains, some with as many as 90 wagons in them, was moving through here hauling all kinds of manufactured goods, from panes of glass to bolts of cloth, rings, necklaces, mirrors, cologne, writing paper, canned oysters, and even some of that fancy champagne. All of this they took to Santa Fe, sold it all off at a good profit, then turned right around and headed back with mules, silver, wool, fur, and the like. Now, all these fellers that were coming through here going west, why, they stopped here and had what they called a rendezvous. Now, one of them things that they did at that there rendezvous was to elect a captain to ramrod this caravan as it headed on west. Now, you would think that way out here, way beyond the frontier even, that the flim-flammery of electioneering could not be found. Well, no sirree. Why, these captain elections were filled with the gall-darndest wranglings, bickerings, intrigues, and wordy warfare befitting any politician in the midst of civilization.
Now look at here, boys. I got to know how to get you down to Santa Fe, and I can get you there in 5 weeks.
5 weeks. He ain't never even been on this trail before. Now I have, and I can tell you it's going to take a full 7 weeks.
Full 7 weeks. He's lying to you. He's just trying to make extra money.
He don't know what he's talking about. He got lost between here and Westport.
I never been lost. Been powerful confused, but I ain't never been lost. Look at
Confused
here.
is right.
I got me a nice map right here, and I can get these boys there and everything because you lost 6 wagons the last time you were out.
I did not lose 6 wagons. We got waylaid.
Waylaid.
Yeah, waylaid.
Well, I can get you there, boys, and I can get you there safe, and I don't lose no wagons. And besides that, this man's a drunk.
That whiskey's medicinal, and you know it.
Yeah, it's medicinal. You must have a terrible malady because I see you pulling on that jug all the time. Now, you boys, you just decide who you want.
The politicking sorted out the captain, and this here captain was supposed to direct the order of travel during the day and then choose a camping ground at night. The captain also put the wagons into divisions and picked a lieutenant to head up each division. Now, before setting out, though, it was the captain's job to make sure what needed to get done got done. Men would cut timber for axle trees and other wagon repairs, as why that required hardwood, and there weren't no hardwood anywhere down the trail for that there purpose. They would carry that lashed timber under the wagons, and sometimes that log was carried all the way to Santa Fe and back. Well, Finally came the time to leave camp. Now, this was a good thing, this trade and everything along the trail, but you see there was a problem. This land we was traveling through belonged to the Injun. What I mean was that this was prime hunting ground for the Osage and Kaw. And from time to time, there was trouble. No, nothing big, just some thieving and harassment towards the Mexicans and Americans that were using this here road. So to avert trouble with the Redskins, the government sent out some commissioners and a surveying party to treat with the Injuns. I believe that was in 1821, and the head commissioner's name was Sibley. They met underneath a giant oak tree just east of here with the Osage. 6 days later, they caught up with the Kaw near Dry Turkey Creek while they were out buffalo hunting.
Sibley said the whites come in peace. He said the whites wanted to travel on the road through our country, but white men would keep to this trail, and they never would stop to live on the road. Our hearts and minds are troubled. We know many whites will come and you will kill our game. You must understand, white people are not to kill game anywhere but near the road, nowhere else. And you must know this. No whites are to come here and take our land from us. They can pass through as the geese flies across the sky in spring, but you are not to stay here. For did not the chief of your nation promise the Kanza chiefs that this land will be ours as long as the grass grows and the water flows? The commissioner said yes. They agreed with these words, so we scratched the paper, and it was done. Hear me. Never from this time of the signing of the paper did the Kanza people do serious harm to the white people who traveled on this road they called the Santa Fe Trail.
Well, about that time, traffic on the Santa Fe Road picked up considerably, with both American and Mexican traders making trips every year up and down this trail. Well, you know, it was that treaty signing with the Osages in our oak grove here that gave this here town its name. Why, the ink was scarcely dry on that paper when Sibley ordered a man to carve the words Council Grove into a trunk of an oak. And Council Grove it's been ever since. Now, that's a right pretty name, folks, and you know something else? Why, it means something too, because it tells us about what happened here and what this here place looked like with the oak grove and all the other trees. Why, there ain't many towns that can boast of that in their names. Well, anyway, as the years went by, traffic on the Santa Fe Road got as thick as molasses. Why, in 1823, some $12,000 worth of merchandise was hauled in the Santa Fe trade, and only 8 years later, 130 wagons hauled $250,000 worth of merchandise through here. And in 1843, some 230 30 wagons hauled goods worth $450,000. Then all hell did break loose in 46 when the U.S. declared war on Mexico, and old General Kearny's army came through here, headed southwest to get at those Mexicans. Now, the army needed supplies and plenty of them. And one wagon train came through here, one after another, and the road to Santa Fe was never the same again. And then, after we licked the Mexicans, Americans kind of just funneled down this here road to the southwest. Manifest destiny, they called it. Us Americans, why, we was going to go west, and no amount of Mexicans or engines were going to stop us. Why, in 1858, I counted over 1,027 wagons carrying over $3.5 million worth of goods come rolling down this here road. And what I have to do with all this? Well, I know a thing or two about trading along the Santa Fe Road. In 47, I was employed by my cousin and his partner to come out here as a licensed government agent to do business with fellers rolling up and down this here road. Why, when I got here, there weren't but just a handful of whites. In fact, this place was still pretty much a wilderness. Why, them doggone call hadn't even showed up. They didn't show up until the following year, at which point they set their villages south on the Neosho. You know, in them days, trappers, traders, hunters, and soldiers, and long lines of wagons were the passing attraction of the day. And in my store could be found every known variety of goods used on the frontier, from ox yokes and repairs to cambric needles, from small bottles of pills to barrels of whiskey. Oh, excuse me, ma'am. Them brogans be $3.50 a pair. That cheese, I charge 35 cents a pound, and ma'am, molasses is $2 a gallon. Sir, I charge 75 cents a plug for tobacco.
It's rotten.
I don't sell no rotten tobacco. Malcolm Kahn across the road does. Woo! Well, that tobacco can get a bit overripe sometimes. Gilkey, get on out here. Take that over there, knock the dust off of it, put it right back on the shelf. Now hold on. I know what you were thinking, but I had to charge a pretty penny for my goods, seeing as why I had to haul them all the way from Westport. Sir, just take those pelts right on over there. I'll give you top dollar on those. You know, in them days, a merchant had to hustle all day long with his customers and then turn right around and entertain them royal at night. For many of them had traveled hundreds of miles to trade. So the business house had to provide a place for them to sleep, a place for them to fix their victuals, corrals for their stock with open access to corn cribs. Well, howdy. What'd you bring me today? Gilkey, Johnson, get on out here.
Got some eggs and a chicken. Whoa.
Take that animal on around back and we'll take care of it later. We'll have fried chicken a little bit later.
All right.
So, you want to take that out and trade, or you want to?
Yes, sir.
All right, you just come on over to the store anytime, and we'll settle up.
Okay.
Thank you
Good
kindly.
job, Mr. Hayes.
Why, good morning, Thomas, Eliza.
Well, hello there, Seth. Well, your business certainly seems to be thriving this morning.
Folks, I'd like to introduce two of our most prominent citizens, Mr. Thomas Sears Huffaker and his lovely wife, Eliza. They reside up at the Call Mission where Tom here, they've lived ever since Tom started the school for the Call children in 51. Well, tell me, Thomas, are you having any luck persuading the Call to give up the chase in favor of the pursuit of agriculture?
Yeah, Seth, you know the government just now did give me that assignment, and it's going to take a little time before we make any progress, but I assure you, progress will be made.
Well, you know something, Tom. Something's been gnawing on me for quite some time. How is it that you have time to teach the Calls how to farm, seeing as why you're a farmer yourself, a businessman, a political leader, and president of the town company to boot?
My husband, like you, Mr. Hayes, he is an ambitious man. And just like you, he's more than capable of dispersing his many responsibilities. Now, we must be going.
We must.
Good day, Mr. Hayes.
So I gotta go see this guy.
You know what? That Tom Huffaker is one complicated feller. Take his work with the Call. Now, he was their teacher up at their school. But you ask any Call and they'll tell you that there weren't too much teaching going on, that all he did was use those Call boys as slave labor on his own farm. And now the government's turned right around and hired him to teach the Call how to farm. While at the same time, he's collecting on debts that those Indians have bought from credit from him. And I just heard a nasty rumor the other day that old Tom Huffaker is finagling a deal to shrink the size of the Call reservation. Yes, sir, that Tom Huffaker is one complicated feller. As you can see, the stage line came in, starting established in 1850. And twice a month, there was great excitement when the stage rolled in bringing the mail. But you know what? I don't begrudge old Tom for keeping an eye on opportunity. By God, that's what this here country was built on. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act opened up this settlement, and settlers just poured down this Santa Fe road, looking for rich, fertile soil, which up to this point, well, I had never even seen a plow. Well, the feeling around here was that opportunity had come a-knocking. So me and a few other fellers, why, we organized the Council Grove Town Company. And it weren't too long before our little settlement become a town. But I'm a-telling you, with settlers comes a whole lot of strife. And yes, there was fighting over that slavery issue, but the truth of the matter was, most of that fighting was done over conflicted land claims.
No, over there.
Gilkey, get out here and bust up this fracas, and don't feel you have to be diplomatic about it. Now, where was I? Oh, in the late 1850s, with the settler trade, the engine trade, and the Santa Fe trade, why, I prospered mightily and built myself a 2-story place of business called the Hayes House. Why, we had nearly 1,000 people living in the county at this time. But you see, there was a problem. It didn't matter how many whites came here and stayed. There was this impediment, blocking the advancement of Christian civilization. You see, this land we were settling on, well, it didn't rightly belong to us. The fact of the matter was, it still belonged to those doggone call engines.
In my 13th summer, my people moved from the Blue Earth Village to a place 2 days' journey down the river the white people named the Call. There we lived for a time in 3 villages. My family lived in the village of the chief Kahiga Washia. There I grew to be a warrior and hunter. One winter, I was asked to join a war party. We traveled far to where the Pawnees lived, and we took many Pawnee horses, and I killed and scalped my enemy. My heart was strong then, and the blood flowed red and hot in my veins. As a warrior, I was proud to protect my people. As a hunter, I was proud to bring food to my people. A warrior took care of the little ones and those who were helpless. A warrior gave many gifts and expected little in return. Over time, my people grew to respect me. I grew lean and tall, taller than all the Kanza, taller still than any white man. I took a wife, the most beautiful girl of the Kanza. Wakanda bestowed many blessings on me. But since living in the Blue Earth Village, my people have suffered greatly. The great sicknesses came, leaving many lodges empty and much mourning and fear. Then the Great Father in Washington pushed many tribes onto our land. The government told my people to live on a reservation and to move near the agency. We were promised payments each year. We were also promised cows, pigs, and other tools of the farmer. These we've never seen. What we've been given are the missionaries whose words we do not listen to. We were promised this reservation land would be ours as long as the grass grows and the water flows. Sometimes my people have been hungry. The little ones cried all night, and we could not give them anything to eat because the game had been driven away or killed by the white hunters or the Indians from the east. And the whites have swarmed about us, selling their whiskey, which is bad medicine, making our warriors crazy, and we quarreled among ourselves. Through our troubles were many, we still found ways to enjoy our existence. Life in our village went on as it had for generations. Our young people courted at the edge of the village. They spoke tender words. The children played with great freedom in our camps. We would never strike our children to discipline them. And we were shocked at the brutality when we saw how the white people would thrash their children in punishment. Our women did many tasks. It was hard work, but all was not drudgery. For amidst the carrying of the firewood and the scraping of the buffalo hides, The women would gossip and tease each other and laugh and make beautiful things for their families. The warriors made their weapons, taking great care in every detail of the construction. For whether a bow, arrow, shield, a spear were well made, could mean the difference between hunger and food for our people, and in battle between life and death. And every night we gathered around the campfires, and the elders told stories so that our people would never forget the legends and ways of the Kanza. Then one day a man from Washington came to our village and asked to meet with our chiefs.
Now, you people are poor, but if your chiefs would sign a new treaty, you could be rich again. The government will give you land just south of the Neosho River Valley. The land is good there. We will build you a school so you can teach the children the ways of the white people. And we'll give you a large sum of money. From now on, from our Lord of 1846, you can get the money, a big sum of money each year, so you can buy the goods that you will need. The land will be yours forever.
Our people gathered in council. Some spoke in favor of the new treaty, and some spoke against it.
We have been poor since we have left the Blue Earth village. Maybe this new place will bring better medicine to our people.
The government will not keep their promises. I say we stay.
I do not want to leave the bodies of our loved ones behind.
Many a times I have visited this place the government has reserved for us. It is a place the white man calls Council Grove. This land has many trees and much game. It'll be good for the Kanza.
This land has been the Kanza's for 7 generations. The bones of our ancestors have become the dust of this earth. I say we should not go.
Here we have known much hunger and much sickness. Where we were once strong, we are now weak. And remember, the money the government gives us each year is about to run out. If we stay, we'll become more poor. If we leave, we can benefit from the new payments of the government and regain our strength from the land. I say that we go.
We go.
In the end, it was my desire of our chiefs to end the suffering of our people that caused them to scratch the treaty paper. And the man from Washington told us that the land of the Neosho Valley would be ours as long as the grass shall grow and the water flows. And so we came to this reservation and made 3 villages downstream from where the great road of the white man crosses the Neosho River. I knew from this time forward, the well-being of the Kanza people would depend on the white people having spoken true words.
Now, 59 was a mighty interesting year around these here parts, especially concerning the call, because it was in 59 that the government came right out here and negotiated a third treaty, thereby shrinking the size of the call reservation down to about 1/3 its original size. Well, truth of the matter was that so many squatters had settled on the call reserve that the government had to do something, and they weren't about to kick no whites off of this here land. So instead, they just swept the land right out from underneath the engine. Well, another good thing about the Treaty of 59 was now the northern boundary of the call reserve was south of Council Grove, because it don't exactly go with the law of the land to have a town right smack dab in the middle of a reservation. Anyway, the Treaty of 59 fixed that up real good. But I'm a-telling you, things got mighty tense in 59 between the Calls and the whites over a little squabble that took place right here in front of my store. Well, it seems the Call had stolen some horses from some Mexican traders. And when we all heard about it, we weren't about to let no thieving Injuns hurt our Santa Fe trade. We all felt it was best to stay in good graces with those Mexicans, as it was to our commercial advantage and all. So we sent word out to the Call village: return those horses and turn over the braves who done the thieving. Well, one Sunday, they brung them in all right. Chief Alagawahu and 90 of his warriors dressed in full battle regalia come riding into town from the west and stopped right here in front of my store. Why, you can just imagine how frightened the townspeople were. Many a child and woman scurried on up to that call mission. I was standing out in front of my store with my clerks facing down those heathens, and Tom Huffaker was brought in to interpret, and old Wahoo commenced to speak his mind.
I told Hayes that we would bring the stolen horses, but will not bring the young braves who took them. These warriors think that taking the horses of the Mexican is not different than taking the horses of the Pawnee. They have done no wrong, but since the Kanza wants no trouble with the whites, we have brought the horses to you, but don't ask for the warriors who took them.
Well, it sounded me like old Wahoo was puffing himself up and was almost downright insulting. Now, I've been trading with them Calls for over 10 years, and I knew the only way to handle them when they got ornery was to let them know that we meant business. When old Wahoo said he wasn't about to turn over those thieving braves, well, I thought it was time to let him know that we weren't bluffing. So I turned to my clerks and told them, go get my pistols.
Hayes did not listen. Instead, he responded with contempt. Then we saw his guns, and I knew there would be trouble. Then he shot the guns. Understand, there were many warriors in the streets. Those behind could not see, so when they heard the gunshots, they thought the whites were shooting us, so 2 braves each shot a white. Then we left, riding south to the hills, for we now prepared for battle with the whites, who we knew would be very angry.
Well, dang if those Injuns didn't shoot a couple of us. Wounded a feller named Parks and a clerk of mine named Gilkey. Well, the truth was, once I fired my pistols and that commotion started, well, I ran into the store and barricaded the door. Of course, I didn't know poor Gilkey was still out front, left practically alone to face the Redskins. Well, now folks got to thinking that the Calls were going to massacre the whole lot of us. So we sent messengers out to the countryside and Before long, the whole town started filling up with armed men ready to wage all-out war against the cause. Now, we had a council, and some fellers wanted to attack right then and there, while others wanted to parley with the Injuns first. Now, there were several hundred of us in town by afternoon, and some of those fellers shown signs of lusting for Kaw blood. Well, finally we sent out a delegation to the cause saying, either you turn over those perpetrating braves or we'll exterminate the whole lot of you.
At first, we rejected the whites' demands to turn over the two braves, but we could see with each passing moment the whites were growing stronger and better armed, and many of them would like to get us out of their way forever by killing all of us. The Kanza are no fools when estimating the ruthlessness of armed whites. So we bound over the two young braves. One was the son of a chief. This we did with great sorrow and regret. But we must save the lives of as many people as we could.
Well, we brought the two bucks into town, and then a crowd gathered around, and there was some moments of doubt and confusion on about what was to be done. And then some feller hollered out. So we took them 2 blocks west and did the stretching right there on the south side of the street. They was left dangling all night, and then some feller come along and cut them down and hauled their bodies out to the Call village where they was dumped on the ground. And that was the end of that.
Now hear me. When a Kanza dies, his soul returns to a spirit village located where the Kanza lived before. And so, the spirit of our two young braves returned to live in the villages near the big river white men called the Call. So it will be that one day, long after the white men have moved us from this beautiful Neosho Valley, as they will surely do, spirit host of Kanza dead will swarm in this valley, and white men, without realizing it, will never truly be alone here.
Ho for Kansas, all you people afraid of war. Ho for Kansas, all you people afraid of war. Come to the Neosho, we have good land, we have rich land just for the taking. Come on our land, here's Council Crow. Ho for Kansas, all you people afraid of war. You will find here peace and plenty. You will find here opportunity. You will find here heaven on earth. Ho for Kansas, all you people afraid of war.
Yeah, me and my friends, why, we all had high expectations in them days. And you're probably thinking that nasty business with the Call put an end to my mercantile trade. Well, that weren't the case at all. Because in 1860, the government paid out $15,000 to the Call, who promptly turned it over to me and Malcolm Kahn at a rate of about $3,000 to $4,000 a day. until it was all gone and they were flat busted. Well, you see, the call, they needed rifles and blankets and flour and such, and Con and I was more than happy to oblige them. And then the Santa Fe trade continued on strong. And in 59 and 60, why, gold was discovered in Colorado. And this here Santa Fe road was chock full of Pikes Peakers heading west to make their fortunes. Of course, most of them were back in about 3 months, flat busted. And then in the early 60s, I was determined to go to Colorado and engage in the cattle business. I figured it was as good a time as any to go. Well, I seen there was beginning to be too many Yankees settling in and around Council Grove. Now, you see, before the war, the town's leaders pretty much sympathized with the southern way of doing things. Con, White, Huffaker, and myself, why, we was all Democrats. But times were changing, and them Republicans were starting to get the upper hand, as they did in all the state. So I said my goodbyes and pushed on west. Thank you, Gilkey. Good luck to you. All right, driver.
Now, the year 1861 was a prosperous one for the farmers of the area. Why, the crops were plentiful. Cash was scarce. The drought the year previously had ended all migration. Yes, sir. Well, we figured that the land west of here wasn't good for much other than buffalo and rattlesnakes and Injuns. Why, we thought Morris County would be a border county for all time. And we thought Council Grove would forever be a frontier town. Now, the Civil War years were, whoa.
I've got this, Thomas. Got it. During those war years, Council Grove was kept in a feverish state of excitement. We were being threatened by invasions of guerrillas and bushwhackers who, after committing deeds of violence and bloodshed in Missouri and eastern Kansas, they'd make their way through here on to find a safe retreat in the mountains. In May 1863, Dick Yeager and his band of bushwhackers came to Council Grove. They were insulting and threatening the lives of some of our best citizens.
Union scum! Abolitionist trash! We are the wolves of the night! If you oppose us, you will suffer! If you fight against us, you will die! Remember this for the wolves of the night! They will be watching you!
The day after they left Council Grove, 3 of them rode up to the store in Diamond Springs. Without any ceremony, they shot the store owner to death and wounded his wife. During all this excitement, a military force was organized here with Samuel Newitt Wood elected as captain. And it was a year before Yeager's band came through that Bloody Bill Anderson and his Missouri bushwhackers descended on the county. They murdered 2 of our best citizens, Judge Arthur Ingram Baker and his brother-in-law. Arthur, he was my brother. You see, Arthur had shot Bloody Bill's father dead in self-defense in Arthur's house there on Rock Creek near the Santa Fe Road. So the old man's sons, Jim and Bill, known as Bloody Bill, they swore vengeance, and then they waited for their chance. You see, my brother kept a supply store near his house, and one evening, a stranger approached Arthur at his home.
some wagons come down, I need some supplies. Can you help me with it? Here's a list.
Arthur buckled on his revolver and headed to the store with his brother-in-law, young George Secor. This manner of purchasing goods by the boss of a train, it was an everyday occurrence. So Arthur and George had little cause to be suspicious.
Yeah, you got them supplies ready?
We're ready to load them up.
All right, well, here's your payment, and here's something for my father.
It was that bloody Bill Anderson bunch. Arthur and George were badly wounded. They were able to escape into the cellar, but the murderers tried to follow him. Arthur shot through the door. He hit Jim Anderson in the leg. So those cowards set fire to the building. And then they waited until it was nearly consumed so that Arthur could not escape. George escaped out of a window. Arthur burned in the building. George told us what happened, and the next day, he died.
We have good land, we have rich land, just for the taking. Come file a claim near Council Grove. Oh, for Kansas, all you people afraid of war, you will find here peace and plenty. You will find here opportunity. You will find here heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. Heaven on earth.
He was one of the most unusual people to ever visit Council Grove. We called him the Hermit. He had come here from the East during the war. He was an Italian priest and mystic. He took up residence in a cave just west of town. He seemed a rather intelligent man, and it was said he spoke 9 languages.
Mr. Hermit, is it true that you live in caves with lions and bears?
Mr. Hermit, is it true that you can talk to the animals and understand what they say to you?
Mr. Hermit, can you please play our music again?
Our children loved to visit him. He was a kind and gentle man. He had lived as a hermit for over 30 years, spending much of that time in Mexico, sleeping with tigers and other wild beasts in caves. He lived in a hollowed-out tree in Westport, Missouri, before coming to Council Grove. And the hermit, he never ate meat or bread, only uncooked cornmeal that he mixed with milk or water. One day, our hermit took up with the company of a wagon train. He refused to ride, and he walked the entire 550 miles over the road to Santa Fe. And we have heard nothing from our hermit since.
Hey, everybody. General, please send us to General Get Athletics. The war is over!
Woo! And so we gathered in Huffacres Grove to celebrate the ending of the war. I see some of our more prominent folks have gathered with us. Allow me to make introductions. This is Mr. Malcolm Kahn and his wife, Matilda. Mr. Kahn, he's from Baltimore. He is the owner and manager of the Stone store across the street from the Hayes store. He and Mr. Hayes were business rivals for the Santa Fe trade. Now, this community owes Mr. Kahn a deep debt of gratitude, for it was he who dissuaded Dick Yeager and his band of bushwhackers from descending on Council Grove. You see, Mr. Kahn and Mr. Yeager had known one another in freighting on the Santa Fe Road before the war. Thank goodness for this, or Council Grove would have suffered the same fate as Lawrence did at the hands of Quantrell. And, well, then you need to meet Mr. William Shamleffer and his fiancée, Miss Maggie Munkers. Mr. Shamleffer, he is currently business partners with Mr. Kahn, and he is a very public-minded young man, and we are expecting great things from him. And you have to meet Mr. Malin Stubbs. Mr. Stubbs is a teacher, he is a member of the Friends Church and a teacher of the Kaw Indians. Mr. Stubbs has earned the respect of both the whites and the Indians of being a very responsible, humane, and honest man. He takes his Indian charges very seriously.
It was you, abolitionists, that started this war. You and your presumption.
Presumption? Presumption indeed.
How could you presume that the South should give up their time-honored tradition?
Was it not the pinnacle of presumption for the South to secede from the Union?
The South holds states' rights sacred. That's the founding of democracy.
Yeah. Well, it was your misguided and immoral sense of democracy that plunged us all into the hell of war! Ah!
Please! This is not the occasion to refight the war. Can we not put aside our differences and begin to heal our ancient wounds? Why, we are truly honored to have with us tonight Mr. Samuel Newett Wood and his wife, Margaret, who now reside in Chase County. Mr. Wood is for Council Grove's first newspaper editor. He started the Council Grove Press in 1859. And what a fire-breathing abolitionist Mr. Wood was when he arrived. This, of course, offended our pro-Southern sensibilities. Why, at one point, Mr. Kahn threatened to dump Mr. Wood's print press right there in the Neosho River. But thank goodness, cooler heads prevailed, owing to the intervention of my husband.
Hey, fiddler, can you play us a tune?
We came to the Neosho Valley Reservation and found that the land was good here. At first, grass, water, timber, and game was here in abundance. We made 3 villages downstream from where the Great White Man's Road crosses the Neosho. In each village was a chief, and all of them were brothers. They were Kahiga Wachija, Estelesa, and Pagahoshi. In time, each chief died and was succeeded by a younger man. Estalesa, after many days of eating almost nothing at all, ate too much too fast and died. Many times my people starved here on the Neosho Reservation. Estalesa was succeeded by Kahiga Watayanga, who for a short time was the head chief of my people until he killed a brave without cause. Then he was literally killed by the brave's relatives and lived in disgrace. Pegahoshi was replaced by Estalesa's son, Watanga. He was very cunning, but sometimes was subject to bad medicine. His village was nearest Council Grove. I, Alagawahu, succeeded Kahiga Wachicha as chief of the village by Kahula Creek. I was long trusted by my people as a wise chief of the Kanza. I was the most eloquent orator of the tribe, and I could not be bribed. So in these very troubled times, I became head chief. The Neosho Valley Reservation was a place of great sickness for my people, especially the disease the whites called smallpox. Many times there was no game to hunt, and the whiskey peddlers were everywhere among us. And then the whites began to flood onto our reservations, building their cabins, turning their animals loose to trample our corn and bean plots, and cutting our timber. The agent said these white men were not to be here, but they came anyway. And the great father in Washington and his soldiers did nothing to stop them taking over our reservation land. Instead, the government told us to scratch another paper, which took away most of our Neosho Valley Reservation land and gave it to the whites. Did not the government understand that when the Kanza lost our land, we lost more than our cornfields, grazing pastures, and hunting grounds? This land and the Kanza people are not separate things. At the very core of our beings, the Kanza are the land, and the land is the Kanza. When we lost our land, we lost ourselves. My heart was heavy with loss, and my mind tortured with dark thoughts. At times, I was overwhelmed by the responsibilities I bore for my people. Sometimes I felt lonely, weak, and helpless. The rituals of my people offered me some solace, but sometimes I felt compelled to journey by myself, far back in the hills to worship the great mystery in silence and solitude. I wished to appear in all humility before Wakanda. I sought out a high place, and at sunrise or sunset, I made offerings to Wakanda. I looked over the glories of the earth, remained there silent, erect, and motionless, exposed to the elements and forces of the great mystery. Sometimes I felt my own helplessness, so I cried out to Wakanda. Adiji Wakanda, Away Abe Kungla. Oh, Wakanda, take pity on me. In this holy ecstasy, I received my strongest medicine and the motive power of my existence. my communion with Wakanda. But in all my thoughts, prayers, deeds, I remembered the gifts the great mystery had bestowed on me. And in turn, I bestowed these gifts on my people. The times my people loved most were the journeys to the plains to hunt buffalo. Then we were free of our terror and bullying by the whites, who came uninvited onto our reservation. On the plains, there were plenty to eat. It was as days long ago when our braves hunted the buffalo and provided for the people, instead of waiting for the government to hand out these payments they call annuities. On the plains toward where the sun sets, we once again roam, a free, proud, happy people.
Three years after I left Council Grove, I came back. My time in Colorado made me realize that this really was the only place that I could call home, so this time I'm back for good. Of course, I didn't go into the mercantile trade. Truth of the matter was, me and a brother-in-law opened up a saloon. That music you're hearing, why, that music's an innovation that I use to sell a whole lot of liquor to fellers that cross my doorway. Well, here's the story on that. One day, this old tramp come trudging into town with the bagpipe stuffed up underneath his arm. And when he began to play that wheezy instrument, why, my customers were delighted, much to my dismay. But it gave me a brilliant idea to contract with that itinerant minstrel until the last lay of that minstrel died out from want of harmony. Jeez. And soon, the saloon died out too. See what I mean? You know, I got back in time to see the Santa Fe Road shut down for good. The railroad done it in. When the Kansas Pacific Railroad reached Junction City, the freighters shipped from that point, thereby missing Council Grove completely. Well, you know, they say all things must come to an end, and I know my time's a-coming soon, but I hated to see that last wagon roll through Council Grove. You wouldn't think a tough old codger like myself would get teary-eyed over such, but I do. You know, them wagons brung with them a whole lot of dust, flies, manure, and foul-tongued teamsters. And the Santa Fe Road was something special to Council Grove. And Council Grove was something special to the trappers, traders, soldiers, hunters, gold seekers, and settlers that used this here road. For it was in Council Grove that they gathered up, got their supplies, and then pushed on west into a vast grassland wilderness. It was like we was a safe port that sailors used before setting out to a dark, stormy sea. You know, I couldn't see it at the time, but the Santa Fe Road brung Council Grove into history. For we were part of something big, much bigger than ourselves. It was like we was center stage in a great drama involving the conquest of a continent and the flow of commerce and humanity between nations. Well, enough of that highfalutin blathering. Truth of the matter was, even after this here road shut down, why, Council Grove done all right, seeing there was all these fellers coming in from all over the country. So Council Grove kind of become a trade center for these here parts.
Papa Seth.
Well, hi there, kitty. How's my little darling kitty?
Papa Seth, may I please have a nickel for Sarah and me?
Well, I don't know. Well, I never can say no to you. Here you go.
Thank you, Papa.
Now, hold on. You make sure you get home by 5 or Aunt Sally will have your hide.
Yes, Papa.
That's my little darling kitty. Took the little angel in when she was just a baby. The poor thing had lost her mother. And one of these days, Kitty there, she's going to be going off to boarding school in Westport, and Aunt Sally and I, why, we sure are going to miss her. Aunt Sally? Well, she's my servant, my longtime faithful servant, and yes, she was my slave up until the war, but she chose to stay with me till the very end. Now, hold on. I weren't the only slave owner in this here town. Why, even the almighty Tom Huffaker owned a slave. Hear that? In '69, the Katy Railroad come through these here parts and caused a great excitement. And by God, we've been feeling growing pains ever since. Why, there's been the gall-darndest wranglings between the townspeople, the outside speculator people, the settlers, and the railroad people on what's to be done with the diminished call reserve. Well, I'm telling you, the squatters have taken it upon themselves to settle this matter once and for all without the government say-so. They've commenced to overrun the call land. And I just heard a rumor the other day that some government big shot, maybe even the Secretary of Interior himself, is coming all the way out here to finagle a deal that'll send these calls a-packing out of here once and for all. And when that has been done, we will have cleared the last obstacle on the road to progress and Christian civilization.
It's the policy of the president to give the red man a country of his own, a place where he's free to meet and mingle without interruption from the whites.
This white chief knows that the whites have come onto our reservation like a swarm of locusts, building cabins and breaking the soil on land that is not theirs. All this they do, though their own laws forbid these very things. Does this man think the Kanzas believe it will be different in this new country?
Call will be much happier moving from the Neosho Valley. Why, the new land in Indian Territory has plenty of wood and water and grass and game, and the government's going to give you seed and farming implements and livestock and a school. For as long as the Kaw people want to live there, this land will be yours.
I told interpreter to say these words to the big white chief. The Kanza do not wish to leave this valley because we do not want to once again leave behind the graves of our ancestors. The Kanza do not just dwell in this valley. We are brothers with the trees, grasses, winds, rocks, animals, and spirits here. To sell this land would be as if we were to sell a member of our family. And had the white chiefs not promised many things, that if we scratched the treaty paper, the new land would be ours forever? And have they ever kept these promises?
It is my duty to tell you that you must sell your land here and select a new reservation in Indian Territory.
Great Father, you treat my people like a flock of turkeys. You come into our dwelling places and scare us out. We fly over and alight on another stream, but no sooner do we get settled. Then again you come along and drive us further and farther, so soon you will drive us over the mountains and into the ocean. My people want to stay here. We will live in peace with the white people and learn his ways as best we can, if only the Great Father will let us stay in this land that we love.
No, no, no. You tell this dirty, stinking, no-good redskin that I order him to take his people to Indian Territory.
Many times I have spoken directly to the whites, but only a few of them really saw me or my people. Most looked right through us, seeking only what they wanted to see. I now know that the Kanza were always invisible to the white men. And what most of them found in us was in reality what lurked in the darker recesses of their own hearts. And that is why it was so easy for them to despise us. I know that this land, like the Kanza, is invisible to the whites. Their eyes are always on the horizon, their minds calculating gain and loss, their hearts restless with nameless expectations. But they never grasp the rich beauty and the powerful mysteries offered each waking moment by this lovely valley and the hills that surround it. Tomorrow, though we do not wish it to be, we must leave this valley. For the Great Father in Washington has said this will be done. Tonight, I think much of the past, but also I think of the future. And I ask, will the whites who live here ever be as one with this place as have the Kanza? And will they ever create a way of life here in harmony with the vital rhythms and awesome beauty of the land itself? Tomorrow, the Kanza will leave this valley. We will never live here again. Tonight, my people are visiting the graves of their relation. The wails of the woman fill the air. someday. Come to these hills in solitude and sit with a quiet mind and an open heart. And let the earth speak. And perhaps then you will hear the voices of the wind people.
On westward we go towards the last buffalo, to the high plains of sturdy short grass, where the great southern herd's still a sight beyond words, as it covers the prairies so vast. On to Plum Creek and Turkey Creek, Smoky Hill too, our ponies and families walk. To the campgrounds we know of our grandfathers' ghosts, from the past glory days of the car. We follow the trail, our ancestors' trail, over hillside and river and vale. Beside sunflowers high, 'neath an indigo sky, we'll journey along the Caw Trail. Our gardens are trampled by white squatters' cows. We gave up our corn and our beans. While we hunt in the west, they are stealing the rest. And we come back to places stripped clean. In the year that the whites call 1855, nearly 1 out of 4 of us died. The smallpox and hunger took loved ones away, breaking hearts of the ones who survived. Now we follow the trail, our ancestors' trail, over hillside and river and vale. Beside sunflowers high, 'neath an indigo sky, we'll journey along the Caw Trail. The trader, he tries to divide us with lies and turn some of us back on the others. But when we go west, we are back to our best, where each caw is the other one's brother. So we'll follow the trail our ancestors trail, over hillside and river and vale, beside sunflowers high neath an indigo sky. We'll journey along the Caw Trail. We'll journey along the Caw Trail. You are the Washashi, bravely facing change, and a future for your people in the land of the great Osage. Eagle led you from the stars to branches of the oak. Then great elk's fur and body form the grass and land below. Your clans can trace their origin from water, land, or sky, and feel a great connection to every form of life. The dawn will find you facing east in thankfulness and prayer for all the beauty of the world each day will let you share. You teach that every life fulfills a meaning and a purpose. You do your best to live each day in honor and in service. You are the Washashi, bravely facing change, and a future for your people in the land of the great Osage. Loyalty to family and children is your guide. Your honor for all elders makes age a source of pride.